All right, I'm here with Shireen Hunt. She is a theta healer and also known as the Reset Queen. Shireen, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Happy to be here with you.
Aloha. If anybody's watching you on video, they can see you are in beautiful
Aloha
Hawaii.
from Kauai, North Shore with the rainbows just shining right now. So sending that out to all of you.
Yeah, we can feel that. I'm grateful. I'm excited to have you on. You're a guest that I've wanted to have on for a while, and because I'm big into manifestation and and healing, and you do something interesting that I don't think is really well known or people don't talk about. People might think it's woo woo, this theta healer. What does that mean? And I've even worked with you in the past, and I got some good results. So I am excited to bring you on to the world, can hear all about what you're doing. But I'm curious, before we go into all that, like how did you get started in this, and I mean, there's so much you do. It's not just theta healing. Like, what led you to this space?
So I'm all my life I've been an intuitive and a seer, meaning that I can see kind of in the spirit realm. And I studied a lot of different things throughout my life until I became, when I was a teenager, I'm like, oh, this is woo woo, and I better not do any of it till I could fit in. Once I came back to it, I studied a lot with Native American major teachers, and of course, living here with Hawaiian stuff. What I was noticing is to be able to see, for example, down this path, it looks this way, down this path, it looks this way. It still felt like we're at the mercy of life happening to us. Then I met this woman who said, you can activate your youth and vitality chromosome inside your center of your brain by using theta waves. And I said, whoa, that sounds really cool. What does that mean? And when she worked on me, I could physically feel it all throughout my body. And I thought, this is something I'm a very quick, like I'm an Aries, I'm fiery. I like quick results. I like instant healing, instant meditation. I'm into the let's get there fast kind of energy. And that's exactly what theta brought for me. So the study of it, I mean, I went really deep and I've been in it for the last 20 years. So I teach it, which is my favorite thing, because if you teach a person to fish, they could always have food, but if you fish for them, they'll only have a meal, right? So
Right.
it's really about empowering people to be their own best healer. We all have brains, we all have brain waves. And so if we can be in that state of, connection to how to use our brain waves in our own empowerment, what better tool than that? We can always
Totally.
have that. So that's kind of what inspired me to dive deep into how to use our brain waves for our benefit.
So, Sharon, when you talk about, you got these instantaneous results, like what were some of the results that you were seeing? And a lot of theta healers, I feel like there's kind of a community of them, and they all kind of are talking, and and a lot of you guys are communicating with a lot of other people. So, what are some of the results, and some of the things that you were seeing just in your own life?
Definitely instant manifestations in a big way, to where almost a little scary, like you better be careful of what you're thinking, because it's really manifesting so fast, and in that way of speeding up that the results of whatever I'm asking for, in no time. Or even things like learning how to slow time down or bend time, and then noticing, wow, it's only like 4 in the afternoon and it feels like 10 o'clock at night. So different. I mean, I use it for everything. I use it for, if I'm muscle testing or tapping in to see if this vitamin or mineral is actually good for my body, or what dose is good for my body. So I use it in sort of all applications, small to big. But manifesting has been a very big part of that for me, and the speed of manifest, I should say. That's been the biggest result.
Amazing. Talk about the science of theta healing. We hear about all these different brainwave states, alpha being this meditative state, theta being the state of this manifestation, delta being like a deep wave sleep. So, talk about why theta is so powerful in healing, and why that really is the key. You want to be in that state, it seems like, if you want to manifest whatever you're trying to manifest.
Absolutely. It's so, yeah, so each, instead of going into a deeper explanation of all the brain waves, normally, like right now you and I are in the beta state and we're processing and communicating. And then the meditative state of alpha, which is what Reiki masters use. is very beneficial for calming down, relieving pain, finding things. If you've ever lost something, if you tap into that alpha state, you could really find it. You kind of just go right to it. So theta being the most important in co-creating or discreating, because we're actually accessing our subconscious and unconscious mind and able to rewire. So we're actually able to disconnect those neuron pathways that are no longer serving us, and also study, the deeper root of why we even have them, where do they come from? Are they our core patterning, our genetic patterning? Is it coming from our history? Is it coming from our soul? What level does this pattern exist in, so that when I go to uproot it and use with the use of the theta brainwave, how can I really get to the bottom of the change and really rebuild from there? And then how can I actually refill myself with the goodness of what it is that's serving me? So in whatever direction we're going, kind of emptying out the junk and putting in the good stuff, but really putting it in via the master cell in your pineal gland, being able to connect it, communicate it through your neuron pathways all throughout your body and your being, and then letting it integrate in you. So it's the most change making of the brain waves in terms of co-creating or discreating. And that's why I love it so much. And it's easy access. Honestly, we all experience theta brain waves every day as we're going into sleep and as we're coming out of sleep. So we're really learning how to harness it, to access it based on our command instead of because we're going in and out of sleep. So we all do it anyway. We might as well put it to good use.
Yeah. Okay. So are we, what's getting in our way? Why are people not accessing theta more regularly? And why, if someone comes to you, and one of the things I asked for your help was manifesting some of the things that I'm trying to create. And so what do you think just typically is like, what's getting in people's way? Why are they not able to manifest these dreams that they want?
So it's so interesting, Joel, because I have a weekly class, and this last class that I did, and it's an activation platform. It's really to get people on track with their manifesting and their downloads of what is the virtues that we all wish and desire to have, and we can actually tap in and download those into us instead of learning through a whole lifetime to get there. In terms of manifesting, often it's our worthiness blocks, it's our patterning about how much we can ask for. Is it too much to ask? Oh, I already have a good life. I don't want to be asking for more stuff. I don't want to be greedy. I don't want to. It's all about the limits we put on ourselves, whether they're conscious or unconscious limitation patterns that are getting in our way of manifesting. Most of the time, it has to do with worthiness, and worthiness issues come from so much of our unconscious and subconscious mind. It's just like embedded right in there, even upon birth. If the mother has unworthiness, issues of that go into the baby. So often people are even born with it, or it's in the group consciousness, or it's in what our parents told us or our teachers told us. It's somewhere in us. We don't feel like we deserve all that we're asking for. That's the number one block. There could be a lot of different things that get in the way, but it's, and sometimes it's for example, a lot of people want to manifest money, right? So then it's like, okay, well, where's your mindset with money? Do you have to work hard for it? Does it have to be through the known sources that I have to work my 8 to 5 job only if I'm going to make this much money? And so all the limitations that we have. Or on the flip side of it, it's like the mindset about, oh, rich people are nasty, or people lose their goodness to money, or money is evil, or all these things that are maybe not even ours, but it belongs to our tribe and in that group consciousness that we've absorbed in. Or a personal experience with someone who's really nasty and they're really rich, and it's like, oh, I don't want to be like that. So all the ways that we get in our own way of being abundant beings, because that's what we are, right? And so we just get these layers that block us from it, and then we have to find those, remove them, and then we are. So
Yeah. I wanted to ask you too, how do we, how, if, and I want to talk about some of what you do, and like if people were to come to you, like what a typical session will look like, because I didn't know what to expect. I always thought, well, to access the theta state, I don't know, maybe I need to do some certain drugs, or I need to do like long form meditation, right? I need to be in a meditative state for a long time. But that's not. I don't necessarily have to be in a meditative state when I come see you, right? So can talk to people like what's like a typical session like and what they can expect.
Yeah, so it's an interesting question. After 30 years of doing private sessions for people or for couples, there is really nothing I could say about what to expect because everyone turns out to be so different. But what I can tell you is a typical session will start with me, first of all, everything done with your permission. So as you remember, I asked your permission to do every single part of it because then you are co-creating with me. It's not something that's being done to you. So it's actually a very empowered state of being, and does not require hours of meditation or anything really. It's just a simple pathway of accessing the ultimate source of light. And so I have my own way of, I breathe into your heart center, get yourself grounded through your body, and then bring that earth energy inside you, revitalize yourself, and feel. I always talk about a vertical pillar of light that's all around you, and it's also your vertical highway. So then feel yourself, in your verticality. We're all these giant beings of light in these tiny little bodies as our manifest. So we are feeling that greatness in ourselves and then imagining ourselves in a ball of light above our head. If visualization works, using that vertical highway to then take your attention past layer after layer of light into the ultimate source of light. Now, whatever that anybody considers that, is that God light, creator, source, goddess, 0 point energy, if you're scientific, if you're in that space of when our being and our mind is focused on being part of the light of all that is, whatever that ultimate light is, in that second, we are in a theta brainwave state. Our body relaxes, our mind opens up, and we get, often people are talking about the mind gets in your way. Well, we want to have it all be in alignment. Like my goal is to have activated beings of vertical light, that you're in alignment with all of you, not just your mind, but every part of your being is in that verticality, in that alignment. But ultimately, in the 1 second, you can imagine yourself melting or letting go in the light of all that is. And in that very second, you're in a theta state. Now, to hold that wave and to create commands in that wave, and then to witness those commands as reality in your being in that wave, that does take some practice. It's just like if you repeat that and you're holding, because our mind is like a reflex organ, right? It's constantly generating thoughts. So even if you're trained and you go into that light of all that is, and you feel like, okay, I've really let go and I'm part of the light of all that is. So I am light. I'm in that light. That light is in me, around me. There is no more me. I've let go and I'm part of the light of all that is. But instantly your mind will come in and start, okay, well, after this is done, I have my to-do list and I got to do that and I got to go. And this is the rest of my day. And oh, I remember that thing that happened. Or the emotional body comes in, all the different ways that we get blasted, right? So it's then to retrain yourself. Okay, let me go back into the light because I just dropped down. And in terms of frequency, we're talking about raising our frequency. And then when we drop down, where it's like the chatter comes in and all that, raising it again. And then it drops down and we raise it again. So ultimately, you learn how to tap in, and tapping in can happen in an instant. It doesn't have to be a lengthy process, but then to hold it, maintain it, command in it, and then bring that in, that just takes a little more. That's why I do what I do, to keep training and keep the practice going. Before I started doing the weekly classes, I would travel and I would teach these 3-day courses. And then I would ask my students, okay, 6 months later, how's it going? We went so deep in that theta deep immersion and, the workshop, and everybody who goes to workshops knows, right? You go in and you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to just change my whole life after this. This is just the most incredible, empowering thing. And then they tell me, 6 months later, yeah, I was doing some theta and then I forgot like what the words were. And then I just kind of, it just dropped out of my, I'm like, do theta. Like theta is part of your reality every day.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it. You just have to turn it
You
on the switch, right? So then I realized people, everybody's busy. We're all trying to survive our many, many millions of things that are on our plate that we're trying to handle. And so if it becomes something external to you that you have to then do, it becomes something else that's on your to-do list, and maybe I'll do it or maybe I won't do it. But if it's part of your being, then like I love the way you said in your book that you start your day by setting up your day. And that's how you ignite your day, right?
yeah.
So that's exactly what I tell my students. Like get up in the day, tap into theta and visualize or feel or command or whatever the words are. It doesn't matter the words. It's more your energetic tune in. Set your day up. Fill yourself up with unconditional love from source and feel all your being like rich with love, and then set up your day and then go into it and make fun surprises for yourself. Like today I'm going to have one fun surprise, or I'm going to meet somebody that I haven't seen for a while, or whatever it is. Make it fun. That's the other thing is if you make it a to-do thing that's like another added thing to your list of to-dos, it's not fun, right? If it's not fun, we're not going to do it. So make it fun, make it creative, make it part of your reality. Anyhow, ultimately, over a course of time, I realized it's best serving if we have a little blurb. So this is a half-hour activation every week. We
Mm.
clear everything internally from micro to macro, every cell, every organ, every level of our being. We have a middle part that's like the focus point of the week. This last week it was really tuning into what our blocks are for manifesting and how can we feel completely worthy of all of our manifestations, and really download that. And downloading that means you're tapped into the source light, and then you're bringing that energy right into the center of your brain, into your pineal gland, and placing that download, the whole package with the perspective in that center space, and then having that communicate to your trillions of cells. So you're really bringing that virtue of worthiness inside you, and it's like you're drinking it. It's just kind of coming in, absorbing, and it'll take a week to manifest through all your cells. But that's why we regenerate, and then we do it again the next week. We have another focus, and then every week we end with a manifestation. So you're really on track with how you're manifesting for your life. You are at the helm of your ship. So which direction is it going, and how can we fill it with ease and grace? Because life doesn't have to be this hard. And we have, we get under things, but we could also be vertical and come at things from a different perspective and be able to be in our empowered state instead of under the weight of everything that comes at us.
I love that you said that because, we did a one-on-one and it was great. But like you said, the life, and that's why you do coaching. That's why I love the idea of this weekly tap in, because I get busy too. I'm a high performer, but I get busy and I'm forget and I'm doing other things. And I was going to ask too, yeah, do you typically, is it for some people, everyone's different, of course, but could someone come see you just one time and it's like, man, that was all I needed? Or
I've
do you,
actually had that a lot,
yeah,
Joel. To be
yeah,
honest, I've had that a lot, especially with DNA shift work, because
mm,
this theta healing work can access and change your DNA actually. And so it's been, I've had multiple clients where they're like, "Oh my God, that just like changed my whole reality," and I'm good. Now, that being said, they're good for that set of issues or those patterns that they brought to the scene in that session. Is it true that they're also then manifesting and regularly empowered in their manifestation? I don't know, because I don't know how much of that they apply then to their everyday life. And that's why I
yeah,
wanted a simple, I call it, my daughter actually called it ready, set, reset. And it's like ready, set, reset. So you reset every week, and you keep making sure you're on track with what you're manifesting. And what I'm hearing from my students is like, it's unbelievable, because I ask them to keep a manifestation journal.
mm,
So when they're manifesting, they could write the date that they've done the manifest, and then when it's come through, and my one of my students the other day came to me. She said, I need to slow down because I'm manifesting so much so fast that I don't even know what to ask for anymore. So it's very, very powerful. And also, as you know, anytime you're in a growth mindset with a group of people who are also in that growth mindset, you're holding that coherence together so much more. So you're showing up for yourself, for your community, and you're all up leveling, that growth curve that you're talking about, that we're doing it together, in a very protected vortex and its own. I say, the Ready, Set, Reset has its own vortex of growth. So you're stepping in and you're lifting off together, which is a very powerful tool.
Yeah, I love that. It makes so much sense. Joe Dispenza does these seminars or retreats, and he talks about it too. I've never been to his seminar specifically, but he actually proves it quantitatively that when you bring this group, this you can co-create this coherent state, and he gets into different states. I'm sure theta is one of them, and they talk about that. Like, so I can really see the power of a group would be, especially with everyone being like-minded and being there for the right reasons. You're going to have a really powerful effect.
Yeah, it's been an amazing gift. And also, we all know how COVID affected all of us. And I was teaching prior to that online anyway. And then I had a big loss. I lost my mom, and I just was
Mm.
really grief stricken. So I couldn't keep up the energy. So I stopped. And then I started again, actually, right before the pandemic started. And it became such a hub of help for people to just be able to, go through that experience together. So yeah, we've just been through Earth Day 2020 is when I started Ready, Set, Reset. So we've been going strong for 3 years now, which is it's so wonderful to see people's lives change and grow. And as a wonderful coach that you are, it's just that ripple effect that we're talking about. It's through the community, through their families, through everything. So it's a gift for sure.
Now, you mentioned earlier that it was instantaneous for you. And so obviously, like, this is it. This is like the creme de la creme to, like, if you want to access theta, let's just do this. Let's just do it this way. But if someone's maybe skeptical, they're like, yeah, no way. I mean, are there other ways that you've seen successful to activate theta? And we
Absolutely.
mentioned meditation, and obviously
Absolutely.
this is the fastest, but that you've seen. But what else
Well,
could someone
I
do?
mean, a meditation, by the way, this form of doing tapping in is an instant form of meditation. So you are in a meditative state when you're in
Mm-hmm.
that theta space. Absolutely, you can go into deep state of meditation. You're already in theta. So that just what it does is you're from the beta state. You kind of slow down into alpha. You slow down into theta, and that's what a deep meditative state is. Anyway, this is just for me, the Aries fiery self is like the quick access is what I was after. There's also, as you know, those beats, the
Binaural
sound,
beats, yeah.
yeah. So that the binaural beats that just take you into theta state. Now, just simply being in a theta state is by itself very healing. It
Mm.
can reset your hormone levels. It can change the body brain chemistry. It could do a lot just simply being in it. The tools that are taught through the work that I do is how to actually use it towards your benefit even more. So how can you kind of laser beam that effect into whatever area that you're working on? So like when I was reading your book, which is an awesome book, Joel, thank you for all the tools and help that you've brought in and Ignite. It's igniting so much in my own brain as I'm reading it.
Thank
So
you. There it
I
is for
really
you watching on
appreciate it.
video.
Yes,
Yeah, thank you.
I'm right here with you. I got mine right here. So
Awesome.
it's a very it's I just lost my train of thought. I was like, where was I going with your book? But I'm tuning into that uh, commonality in terms of, okay, so as an example with weight loss, and I know your book is so much more than weight loss, but when
Yeah.
I work with people, different people throughout 30 years that have come, it's like, I'm really struggling with this. I can't seem to lose the weight. I'm just kind of like, I just feel like it's failure after failure. So then we look at, all right, let's look at the patterns that are holding this, which you describe in your book as well. Like it's a, where is your mindset? Where is all the different things, right? So as an example to weight loss, for example, people that have gone through abuse or, some kind of violation to their body. And I'm not saying everyone who has weight loss has these issues, but the layers of protection build on the body because the body actually wants to protect itself. So it'll build fat layer after fat layer. It's like, this is how I get to feel protected. Or there's a mindset like heavier people are more powerful. Like here in Hawaii, being heavy is like they call the big mamas the titas. It's like, don't mess with the tita. They're really powerful. So there's
Ah,
this sense of like, oh, there's more power that comes with weight. Or if I'm a big, like a sumo wrestler, right? Like there's a big, powerful energy there. And there could be a mindset where, oh, skinny people are weak, but heavier people are strong. So we just look at, what is it? Are you protecting yourself? If so, we want to download into every cell, every organ, every level of your being what it feels like to be protected by source, that you are already protected, to feel protection, to then go even deeper. And if the person's ready, remove those trauma bonds or whatever went on, like the violation that happened, like go into the forgiveness practices, go into ho'oponopono. I mean, everything kind of, it could get as big as you want it to get, right? If you're going to the root of things. So it's to just understand that there are ways to unblock the blocks that we've created for ourselves in an easier manner than what we may think. Like, oh my God, all my life I've been this way. So it's going to take at least this many years for me to not be this way. But that's not true, right? Because even if somebody's going to, let's say, talk therapy for something, and they go for years and years and years and years, and they're just, they're nothing against that. But I'm just
sure.
saying, whatever anybody needs to do. But when they finally heal, it's in that moment, right? It's like all of a sudden I hit the point with my therapist where it was like, oh my God, we hit it. Now in Theta, you could just do that a lot faster. So you could go, oh, well, let's look at these. Like it's called digging for the roots. So if you pull, anybody who's done gardening, you pull a weed by the top of it, the roots will grow another weed. If you pull it by the roots, it's gone. Now there's space where you pulled it and it's got the empty space in the soil, you want to refill that. So that's the point in using these tools. Pull it by the root, replace it with whatever is serving. So if we're pulling the root of feeling not protected or feeling unsafe, or, based on, again, I'm making it very simple for the use of our
Yeah.
conversation, but if we're pulling that root, then we need to go into refilling it with, I feel protected, I am safe, creator's protecting me. And it doesn't have to be that people believe in God or protect, creator, or it doesn't have to, theta is your brainwave. So it applies to anyone. Somebody could be, I don't believe in God. Okay, well, do you believe there's light outside, and what's the source of the light? Like, is it the sun? Okay, what's beyond the sun? What created, whatever. It could be described to the most religious person as you're tapping into God space, or the spiritual person, you're tapping into creator or source or goddess, or, whatever that is. Or it could be with a person who is absolutely non-believer of anything. It's like, okay, I've worked with Buddhists and they're like, well, we don't do that kind of talk. I'm like, okay, well, what's the ultimate light? So just tap into the ultimate light. You don't
Mm,
have to call it anything that doesn't work for you. It's just simply accessing that brainwave. And the way you do it is by feeling like you're part of the light of all that is, whatever you consider that light to be. Now, in that space, you want to actively come into requesting or commanding the changes. So in this example, we're pulling from the root in the core patterning, in the genetic patterning, in the history, in the soul level, in all the levels, from the most micro cell to the most macro level of your being of light that exists in this body, what it feels like to be without that feeling of, oh my God, I'm going to get attacked, or I'm not protected, I'm not safe. And then replace it with, I feel safe, I am protected, creator's protecting me, or the light of all that is protecting me, my higher self is protecting me, whatever it is. People that feel a lack of safety or protection will not want to drop weight. As soon as they feel that safety, that feeling of protection, they're like, oh, I don't need these extra layers to feel, and that's just an example for that path.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're complicated beings, there's a lot involved, but I just wanted to say that to the point of your book and what you're bringing is that those are the things that can help. Or like visualization, for example. I loved what you wrote about visualization and Ignite. It's so powerful, and going into that, the filters with the RAS system and what we bring in. I mean, I've been visualizing my whole life. And I just learned a lot from reading your book about, oh, well, that's what's happening with visualization. So a tool that I use for my clients, for example, if again, just making weight loss an example, it doesn't
Yeah.
have to be that, but I say, okay, you have a scale, right? And when you get on there, often people who are wanting to do weight loss, they're upset about what they see, right? So I say, okay, then you know what your scale looks like and what the numbers look like. Don't get on the scale, but every day for 30 days, visualize that scale with those numbers, saying the numbers that you wish it to say. Like, what's your ideal? And I tell them, like, if somebody's 100 pounds overweight, like, be a little, I mean,
Be
don't be
reasonable.
like, yeah, be reasonable. And that, if you want to weigh your high school weight and now you got 100 pounds to go or 200 pounds to go or whatever, you could do gradual resets for that. But visualize that scale, saying the numbers that you realistically want it to say while feeling good. I'm not saying sell yourself short and like, oh, well, I can never be that. So no limitations on anything, but just maybe a gradual reset or something like that. And then wait a month and then, do that and see how your being is waiting to listen to you for your commands. So it's just, how do we want to set ourselves up so we are at the helm of our ship? Because often the ship's just going in the wind and the waves and the whatever's going on. Oh, another tsunami came. Now what do I do? So how can we be empowered in our movement forward? And this is just an additional tool. I mean, everything you said in your book is so fantastic. And like, sprinkle a little theta on there and boom.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, and there's so much good stuff, and so that's why that's why I reached out to you because I had been reading and researching all about this theta. I'm like, well, who's out there that's like doing this? Who are these theta healers? Who are these theta teachers? And you came highly recommended, so that's why I sought your
Thank you.
guidance.
Thank you
So
so much. And I always have to give absolute honoring and credit to my theta teacher, Vianna Stibble, who has healed herself from terminal bone cancer with this work. So it's very, she was in 1997, they said they had to amputate a leg because she had terminal bone cancer in the femur bone, which is the largest bone. And they said if you put any weight on it, it's going to explode and the cancer is going to go everywhere. It's all over the bone. And she basically, I mean, theta is not new. Obviously, all hypnotherapists use the theta brainwave. It's throughout all time. It's, it's a very healing, thing that it's not a secret. It's been out there. But Vianna created theta healing as we're reading the books now about it and all those things. And after she healed herself, and she said, I basically felt like I tapped into the God light. And I love the way she always says, I just had a talk with God and I said, and then God did this. And so she's very much into, that's her word. And I've chosen creator because it just seems like it's a little more helps different people with their different mindsets. But yeah, she just felt like she brought creator's light into the bone and commanded it to be healed and whole. And within matter of minutes, it had shrunk. It was raised above the ground. She couldn't even put any weight on it. And it healed, it was instant healing. So yes, we are able to instantly heal. And it doesn't mean because you've had something your whole life, you have to deal with it for so long. These are all just mindsets. Everything that happens in an instant. So it's that to just really get ourselves in alignment so we're not blocking ourselves from our own highest and best. I mean, I love, my tagline is activate your highest and best potential. So I was reading that in your book too. I'm like, we're on the same page, Joel. We're moving in the same direction.
yeah, and then something I found for my own self is that usually I'm the one causing the interference, and if I would just get out of my own way, I
Exactly.
would access all of these things that I truly desire and really want. And it's just so funny. The
Absolutely.
more I surrender and give in to what the universe is already just trying to give me, amazing things happen. And I think, but I really like also your idea of that weekly class. I think that would be something I'd be interested in, because I know I hired a coach for being a better dad. He's a parenting coach, his dad coach, and I've gotten so much better. And people might say, "Well, that's ridiculous. What are you, not a good dad?" No, but I could be better. I could be better. And but we do weekly calls, and I feel like every week I'm just shedding new layers, and and if it was just some kind of coaching program where it only lasted a month, 8 weeks, I would learn a lot of stuff, like you said, in a 3-day immersion, but eventually some of those things I'll keep and some of them will wipe away. So having that constant being in tunement so that it like really digs into the roots, as you would say, and start to really create some new pathways. I think that's powerful.
Absolutely. And just to keep going, keep going in the direction of your dreams. Because often, too, people will go into a space of, well, I'm doing great. I'm manifesting. I'm doing, and then they receive whatever it is that they've manifested. Then they just forget about it. They go up, but, it's like we are constantly manifesting. We are generating and manifesting our reality every single day. So, what do you want to manifest every single day? And then so we do it per week. I mean, I wish I could do a class every single day to just kind of like do that kind of immersion, but I figure probably nobody is gonna want to do something every day. But once a week for a half hour, so it's not a big time commitment, but it's just a really empowering gift to bring to your life, because it really changes so much. I mean, the lives of these students that I've seen change in the last 3 years is just mind blowing. Like, their families are changing. And that's the other thing I want to say. When you're shifting, those of you who are partnered with someone, when you're sleeping together at night, your cells are communicating with your partner. Even with your children, especially your children, when they're littler, because they don't have all the as many resistances as we build, as we, most kids anyway, are much more open, as if they're so even just being in the same, even hugging each other or touching each other, that's the other thing. It's like, we who are activated, we are activating others just simply by living. So you're activating your family, you're activating your partner, you're activating your children, you're activating your clients, so it's a constant rippling effect that's going on. So we want to change the world. That's how you do it, right? You just, keep shifting from that inside out and keep rippling that out. For myself, I've programmed in my being that anyone who I touch or I communicate with or I directly connect with, their dormant DNA activates. So that's my part of my, I want to activate as many people. Feel like that's my job or my mission. Peace is number one, because I'm a peace carrier, and I do these weekly, I do these for free, so I'll tell you about that if you like. But I do a
Sure.
weekly internal and global peace meditation live on Instagram every Thursday morning. I've done it since 2009, and it's to really
Wow.
do theta, to feel peace inside every cell of our being, and then to send peace all over this planet, so that together we create that coherent field of peace, and it makes peace a reality for the whole. So that's my number one mission, and that's what I do every single week. I mean, I've only missed 1 week since 2009, and that's just because I was in an airplane and I couldn't do it. But it's my otherwise, my being is to teach and activate as many people as I can, because everybody can do this. There's not a single person in the world who can't heal themselves through theta. That I 100% believe that, because we are such powerful co-creators. We've just dumbed ourselves down. We get, into our phone scrolling, and we're just constantly doing this kind of thing, or we're seeking outward all the time. Like, what else do I, and it's, first of all, I want to honor you for the growth mindset that you have, because a lot of people don't have that. So it's like, I'm just stuck the way I am. This is me. This is my, this is, oh, I had a bad childhood, and I have compassion for people who have that. I'm not saying, oh, blah, 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 but I'm saying we can change no matter what has happened in our lives, or what stories we are carrying, or even what past life stuff we're carrying. We can go into the burdens as big as we want, but really we have the ability to shed them, to shift through them, to grow through them, and to learn what's underneath all those lessons, so we don't have to get the repetition again. And I think everybody can do this. There's not a single person that can't do it. I used to teach kids, Joel, and they're amazing. I mean, I was like teaching with my daughter. We were doing the 16-week long children's increasing their intuition and like their healing abilities. That was a lot of years. My daughter's now 26 and she was 8 when we were doing that. I now have people that I'm hearing from their mothers. They're like, oh, my kid's now 18, 19 years old and just doing all sorts of intuitive work and like doing healing in the community and all this stuff. I mean, until kids get shut off, there's like we all are. We're so powerful and we just get so many layers that pound on us over time. So we want to clear that out and then be able to just be the ultimate highest and best that we can be. So that's my goal, same as yours.
I love
That's
it.
what we're here to do.
I wanted to ask you, you mentioned, a lot of people will come to you like myself. They want to manifest something, a goal, a dream, abundance, wealth. And then also, I just heard you mention healing. I could see people coming to you maybe that are ill and they want to heal better. What else are you seeing? What else would be a good reason to seek you out if someone is it other than just manifestation, dreams, and healing? Anything else?
A lot of people come to me for cord cutting, and
Mm,
a lot of so it's a kind of not just between couples, although I do a lot of couples work. I do sacred partner calling in ceremonies where people are seeking their partner, and so really aligning people for what what are you missing inside yourself that needs to be filled up, and then how do we magnetize to your highest and best partner. And then often, people who are going through heartbreak and that kind of where there's or divorce or whatever is going on there, where if you simply sign a paper, your body and your being and your emotional body, and that's not understood through signing of a document, so really going through the cord cutting, the clearing, the pulling back the power, getting that energy pulled back into the person, because often we give so much that it resides with the other person, the chunks of our power that we gave away. So those kinds of things. I have to say, I love officiating and living on Kauai. I officiate a lot of weddings. I officiate and I do a lot of vow renewals. And so I do different things. I do home blessings afar here, clearing, because theta is a very powerful tool for, I've been in haunted houses and cleared that energy. And it's just that it could go into as many things as you want. Like pregnant moms come to me for easier birth and delivery and that kind of stuff. And so it can really literally go in 30 years plus of doing it, it's gone into so many directions I honestly can't even say. But yeah,
yeah.
healing ailments, healing emotional body, dealing with all sorts of unknowns and wanting to look into pathways of like job search and
Mm,
choices to make and different anything
yeah.
basically.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. That's great. I'm curious, what other exciting projects are you working on right now?
So right now I'm actually working on creating my advanced reset class, and this one's going to be for practitioners, because the Ready Set Reset that I have every week, which is really my passion, is teaching. Because I see so much empowerment in people when they learn and they do stuff. Like I just got a client wrote me yesterday and she said, "Oh, I did your last class, and all of a sudden I was with my parents and I realized all the things that I absorbed from them in terms of lack and having to work so hard to make money, and like it just all has to be so hard, and all of a sudden I reconnected my source learning to source, and I just felt like this opening happening. I mean, it's just like the biggest gift when people get it.
Yeah, so
So
cool.
Ready Set Reset is always going to be my way to give to my community and to the community at large, whoever's ready to really take the helm of their ship. So that's always my exciting project, because I just love teaching. So that's my weekly. And then my newest is that I'm going to create the advanced reset class. And this is for all teachers, all practitioners, all coaches, massage therapists, anybody who's working on other people, so that they could learn how to use this theta healing work on their clients. So they could go, I mean, I have doctors coming to me and then using their intuitive abilities to see what's going on with their patient.
Yeah.
And my other one is my signature class is Master Your Intuition, and that's an 8-week course to really help you master your intuition, activate it first of all if it's not activated, but how do you master it? Because we're often living our life through our logic and through, the ways we are taught, especially in this society where being analytical and being, like really study your choices and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying there's a lot of weight that's leaning on the analytical mind and things that make sense, and they're just categorized and things like that, and we're not, we don't give as much value to our intuition. I feel like our intuition should be the highest valued thing. It's always the way our higher self is communicating through us. We know so much if we just know how to master our intuition, because we can redirect in every single situation. So and I'm working on a book, and you're a book writer, you're an author. So I kudos to you, because I know how much work it is. I'm writing Master Your Intuition as a book, and I hope it's finished soon. I don't know how long it's going to take me with the daily load of life, but those are my exciting projects, is
I
to
love it.
finish that book, and then to my signature class and the advanced reset class, which is really going to be exciting, because we're going to dive into really how to apply it to other people through your own work. So
That is going to be so powerful, and I'm excited that you're doing a book, because that was what I was thinking. I was like, please tell me you're going to be writing a book soon, because you've
yeah,
changed a lot of lives. So that's going to be
yeah,
great.
it's in the works. It just needs to be edited and re-edited and re-edited and then
Yes,
turned into a book. Yeah.
yes, I
So
know all about that.
I do know that you know.
All right. I wanted to kind of wrap it up and get into some final round questions, and then you can let people know where to find you. But anything I didn't ask you that you wish I had?
Oh, that's a good question. No, I think I can't think of anything, Joel. It's been wonderful having this time with you. I really appreciate you hearing me out here, and I hope it helps your audience.
Yeah, and we'll always bring you back on, especially when the book comes out and some other new stuff. So don't worry.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
There's always room for part two.
Awesome.
I'm curious. These are kind of like my final round questions that I like to ask every guest, and I'm curious, what were some choices, or maybe just a choice that you made that you think made you who you are today?
Definitely diving into this. I dove in head first, deep into the theta world. It was it's changed my whole world. And I mean, it's been a long time now. It's over 20 years. So I can just say I see the rippling effects in every part of my reality. That is a choice that first choice to sign on that first class and meet the teacher and I just love her so much. She inspires me so much. So I feel like, signing up for that very first one. And then, I mean, I traveled and took all the certification classes. I kind of gave my life to it. And
Mm.
it's been the best choice that I've made for sure. And living in Kauai, I'm going to say.
Yeah,
That was a wing it choice. Let's go based on our dreams and see how we're going to wing it. And we've been winging it 30 years later. So here we are. Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
You're doing so much in the health and wellness world. I'm curious, who inspires you?
I'm so inspired by so many. I'm inspired by your book, Joel. I've been reading you, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so inspired by what you had to share. My biggest inspiration is definitely my theta teacher, Vienna.
Yeah.
I just can be in her presence, and I feel like I get lit up. So that's but definitely in my own life, I I have to say the most learning has ever happened to me in my life is through being a mom for my
Mm.
daughter, and it's just unbelievable, mind blowing how much you learn as a parent that you didn't even have any clue about yourself until you become a parent. So she's definitely an inspiration. My husband's an inspiration. Kauai is an inspiration. It's just the beauty here is amazing. And as a result of that, I actually started doing private retreats here. So I do
Oh, wonderful.
retreats for individuals or couples here where it's like they're immersed in this beauty. We live in a place that has a waterfall running through the land and a botanical park in the backyard. So I'm like, I need to bring people here for an immersion into it so they could really, and I love to cook. So I cook really, kind of creative, organic cooking is my thing. And so I feed them. I do sessions for them. If it's a couple, I do either a vow renewal or a wedding at the end. It's really cool to just kind of bring people into this inspired place.
Yeah, you're speaking my language. I'm thinking of an excuse for a reason to come out and see you and do
Yeah,
all these fun things. So yeah,
yeah. Come and do a retreat.
I would love to.
Yeah,
I will definitely.
yeah,
You're giving me some good ideas, a business
yeah.
write off to come see you. So that's great.
Exactly, exactly. It's for your growth. It'd be for the
Absolutely,
growth of your business. So,
absolutely.
yeah,
We were talking about my book, and thank you for the gratuitous plugs. But in all seriousness, books have changed my life. Are there like a top 1 to 3 books that you would say, man, these books were just, or a book was such a changed my life? I would recommend everyone go out and read it. Is there a book that comes to your mind, or a top three?
absolutely. I've gifted it to so many people. The New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. I
Mm,
love that book. Just I don't know. It changed me. Just that the New Earth idea. Yeah. I bought so many of that book and I gave it to so many people. So that's like the first thing that pops into my head is that one. It's a while ago, I know, but it was really inspirational for me, very
I
much.
gotta grab it. I have the Power of Now, but I've never read the New Earth, so I'll have
The
to
New
grab
Earth
that.
is better than The Power of Now. The Power of
Wow.
Now felt a little bit like it was just a little. It's great, but it was
Yeah.
felt a little kind of like oof. I just read it. I would read a little. I'm like, okay, that's enough. But the New Earth, I couldn't even put it down, and it was just. I
Wow.
love that book. The second one I'd have to say though is The Surrender Experiment by Michael Singer. I love that book, and I loved listening to that one because he's the narrator himself on the audiobook, and I love his voice. I love the story. I just loved everything about that book as well. So
Yeah, I just finished reading that one recently, and a lot of what he said resonated with me. So I love
yeah,
that you
it's a
listed that.
great one. It's a great one. I really enjoyed it too. Yeah, it's a really good one.
Last 2 questions, we'll wrap it up. Are there any like rituals or hacks or practices or anything that you do on a regular basis?
Absolutely. So I get up in the morning, I tap into theta, and like I said, actually, any of your audience who I have a gift for them, and that is an audio meditation that comes from my site to them to tap into theta. So it's a short guided meditation, and that's what I do at night before I go to sleep, so that you could just literally clear the day away and all
Mm,
the things that are unfinished in the day, clear the field of your room. Often people, for example, if you go to a hotel, you don't know who else has been in there or whatever. It's really important that
mm,
our sleep space and our sleep state is prepared for. And so the audio gift that I have for your audience isn't just for nighttime, but that's one ritual that I do at night before I go to sleep. I also sing to my cells that they're all healthy and well. So I clear my space, I clear the space of the room, the house, everything, wherever I am, using that same method that's gifted to your audience. If they want to receive it, they just get it through my site. So that I do, and then I sing to my cells. And in the morning when I wake up, I also tap into theta and just feel unconditional love showering me, just like you're,
mm.
using the water in the shower for your normal shower. I also receive that liquid light shower where it's going inside my body, in my cells, in my the insides of me, the insides of my emotional body, so that I feel filled up with unconditional love as I start my day. That changes everything. Those two practices literally could take you 2 minutes in the day and 2 minutes at night if you're practiced at it. My guided gift that I give you is about like 5 minutes, but still, it's like you could change your reality in 5 minutes, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, it's amazing, and most people won't do it. They won't take you
Yeah,
up on it. So
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I
Well,
appreciate
I
that is
highly
so cool.
suggest it. Try it for
Do
a week.
it. Yeah, do it.
See what happens in a week if you do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Last but not least, where can people find you, connect with you, learn more about you?
So my site is resetqueen.com. It's a name that my husband gave me because he said you reset people. So resetqueen.com is my site. They can find me there. If people go to resetqueen.com and subscribe there, they will receive automatically this gift audio that will come to them that's clearing their space using the theta brainwaves. And it's the space around them and all the energy to set up for nighttime. The other space that I would love if people will join me is for the internal and global peace meditation, which I do live on Instagram. And that one, my handle is The Reset Queen. So, The Reset Queen every Thursday, 10 a.m. Hawaii time, which is right now it's 1 Pacific time. I do it. It's just 10 minutes. It's free. Anybody could join it. It's if we all want to live in a peaceful world, what are we doing for it? Let's at least co-create that actively every week together. So I'm just aiming to reach that field of coherence. So I need a larger number of people participating to reach that. And that's Thursday mornings, Kauai time, the Reset Queen on Instagram. Otherwise, Reset Queen is my website. And yeah, happily I'm here for any activation assistance to anyone who's ready.
I love it. Sharon Hunt, the Reset Queen. Thank you so much for being on the show. I love you.
Thank you
Thank you.
so much. Thank you so much for having me, and all the best for all your powerful work. Thank you again.